Welcome to The Work of Warriors, a podcast dedicated to bringing mental wellness to the entertainment industry. My name is Kim Rapach, former therapist and now a trauma-informed entertainment and music industry coach. Together, we're creating a healthier industry one brave conversation at a time. And I'm so glad you're here. A lot of people in the entertainment industry and the music industry and a lot of people in Nashville talk about how they are passionate about mental health and mental wellness, but aren't really taking any action. I recently met an artist, Allie Colleen, in Nashville, and I just knew when I met her that she had an energy that would be great for the podcast. And so when I invited her to the podcast, she introduced me to her manager and publicist, Bev Moser. In today's episode, you are going to get to hear from Bev, who has been in many roles in the industry for 30 plus years. What's more impressive is her passion for mental health and her willingness to talk about anything, and her own resilience and just her perspective on life and how things happen. And she's just a great example of resiliency while also embracing the need for so much more across the entire industry. You're going to love this conversation. I know I did. Welcome, Bev Moser from Be Noticed Public Relations.
Hello there.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, Bev. I'm good.
Well, good.
How are you doing?
I'm good. It's been a busy day, but I'm good.
I would imagine every day is busy.
You know, it varies. Some days you're like, whoo, everything is smooth. You have no interrupted phone calls or meetings or anything. And then today has not gone on schedule at all. Other than that,
well, thank you for being here. And I'm glad that this is working out for both of us.
I agree.
It means a lot that you're here. I met you through one of your clients that I just happened to meet when I was in Nashville on Broadway.
Yeah.
And so, that person was like, contact my publicist and my manager, Bev. And here we are.
Here we are.
Whenever I invite artists to be on the podcast, I always extend an invitation to their industry professionals, whether it's their manager or their publicist. It sounds like maybe you fulfill both of those roles.
I do. I wear a lot of hats for that particular artist. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, I would love to just hear more about what your roles are in the industry.
Okay. Industry-wise, I mean, if you look at my website, it says booking, PR, and artist management. So those are the three key things that I do. But within each of those, there's a million subtitles. So if I'm working for management with an artist, it may mean going on the road with them. It may mean doing their tour, scheduling everything and advancing all the shows. It might be doing all of their interviews while they're out on the road. There's a million things that go on with that. So my days are never, ever alike. I don't think I've ever had 2 days alike in my life, but I like it that way. A lot of variety, a lot of reasons to challenge myself every single day, trying to learn new stuff, keep up with all the new technologies and AI and you name it.
Sure. That was going to be my next question is, do you like it that way with the days, never being the same? I know I work the same. I love, what am I walking into now?
Yeah. No, I've had jobs where every day is the same thing. You're doing accounting or you're doing whatever you're doing. And after a while, you kind of get bored with yourself because you can do it in your sleep. I enjoy the challenge of waking up and looking at the calendar to go, ooh, today's a roller skate day. We got a lot going on. And then there's days that I can pace myself and not have to feel rushed and do some other things to learn things or whatever it might be. Look for new clients to do interviews, look for new venues for my artist, whatever it might be.
Sure. Fun. How long have you been in the entertainment industry?
30 plus years. A long time. Yeah. When I started my career, I was living in Nebraska and I used to come to Nashville and go to Fan Fair. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's now CMA Fest. But me and my girlfriends that was our mom's week. We would come to Nashville and it's a big festival where you have opportunities to meet artists and to listen to tons of music and go to fan club parties and just all different kinds of things involving the music industry and country music. And my little local radio station found out about it and called me one day and said, hey, we hear you're going to Nashville and you've been there for like 6-7 years and you know some people there. And can you tell us what you're doing? And of course I said yes. And I loved every second of it. And on the last day they called and well, I guess when I called in, they said, when you get back home, we have a job for you. I said, listen, I've got 3 little kids. We own our own business. and I don't have time for anything else. I said, this was my 1 week to get away. So I said, after that, it's back to working for me. But I went into the station, took him a bunch of autographed posters and different things that I had gotten, and said, here, thank you. Give these as radio giveaways. I don't collect them. I got them for you. Thank you for the opportunity. And they're like, no, 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 no. We really are serious. We want to hire you. And I'm like, I have zero time. And they said, oh, you can voice track it. We'll teach you how to do it, and no one will know you're not on the air. And I'm like, well, it kind of sounds fun, but I've never been a radio person. I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to do any of that. And they said, we can teach you. So they did. They taught me what buttons to push, how to talk to an empty room, because you're sitting in the radio station by yourself, pretending to talk to thousands of listeners. And I loved it. And I was doing like a night shift. So I would go in after I put the kids to bed, and I could record a week's worth of shows, be home by midnight, still get up early in the morning, take them to school. And then the morning co-host broke her knee, and they said, we know you don't have time, but would you fill in just until she's back on her feet, literally? I said, of course. So I did. Well, guess what? She never came back. So I ended up being a morning co-host, fell into that. And for 7 years, I loved it. And then my marriage kind of fell apart. I decided to move to Nashville because music has just always been my thing. And I thought I would just find another radio job, but they don't work that way in Nashville. I had no formal training. I just fell into it. But I had met a lot of fans through my radio job. And that's why I really wanted to move to Nashville, because I had met so many people. They came through our local fairs and the radio station hosted it. So they just kept calling me and saying, hey, there's a concert tonight. We have extra tickets, or there's a CD release party, or there's a #1 party. Come and hang with us. Free food, free drinks. So of course I went. And there was a photographer there. Every show, same person. And he had the same camera that I had, that I did as a hobby. And so I had a conversation with him, and it was like, what do you do at all these shows? I keep seeing you, what are you doing with these pictures? Because they don't let fans in these parties. And he said, oh, I own a magazine. I'm from Atlanta. And I'm like, you're driving from Atlanta to Nashville like 4 or 5 times a week? Because that's how often I was going to events. And he's like, yep, it's my magazine. Somebody's got to do it. And I'm like, I have that same camera. I can do this for you. And he's like, well, I can't pay you. I don't have enough money in a budget to hire you. I'm like, I wasn't asking for a job. I'm just being nice. And so he said, well, send me some samples of things that you've taken, and maybe I can help you. So I did. And he wrote back instantly. He says, oh my God, you're really good. And so he started hiring me and paying me a little bit to get into some other things. And literally within 3-4 months, I had labels, managers, publicists calling me saying, we've seen your stuff published in this magazine. What would you charge to be our official event photographer when we do events? And I had zero clue that was even a job. I was very naive. And I had to learn by baptism by fire who really wanted to charge and who did not, who wanted to pay me and who did not. And it just fell into place. So for 17 years, I was a professional photographer because I was getting paid. So it just kind of kept falling into place. And then I started working with another entity while I was still doing full-time photography. They were putting together, it was kind of like a MySpace for country music artists, but they were well ahead of their time and they did not have the technology that they could have. And they started putting together showcases where we would bring in like 5 artists that were on the rise, and then 1 artist that had had a lot of big success that maybe was not an A-list artist that you hear on the radio every day. And that person would then mentor these up and coming in the green room and talk to them and teach them some stuff. And this entity did not have a publicist or anybody to publicize what we were doing. So I wrote up a little thing and sent it to my friends that I had met through the industry and said, hey, we're doing this. It's a free show. Come on out. That kind of led me into being a publicist. I mean, so one thing after another is how I fell into my job, and management came naturally because some of the artists I was doing PR for needed management badly. So I understood enough of the industry at that time to help them out. And now I've been doing that for 11 years. So everything just keeps falling into place for me. I don't know why, but it does.
I feel like that's how it's supposed to be.
It is. I think you're right. And I think that you can go to college and get a degree for a lot of things, and so many people don't even use it. They
Sure.
do what they love.
Especially now.
Yeah, they find a job that they love and they grow into it. And it's like you said, especially now with AI, you can learn anything. So
Yeah.
it's changed. Everything changes all the time. But I love what I
Sure.
do.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what have been some of what you would consider wins in the industry?
Oh man, I've had a lot. I was working for a Grand Ole Opry icon, and we placed her. We had so many things that we got her awards for. She got to be on the CMAs when she was 83 years old.
Is it Jeannie?
Yep, Jeannie Seeley. And
Amazing.
I've been involved in a lot of fundraisers where we bring in artists to raise money for different causes. Jeannie had one that we did year after year. I had another client who had gotten cancer, and we raised over $350,000 to help pay for his cancer bills. And we had that particular artist was a 90s artist. And so we brought in all the 90s artists for that. I mean, we had everything from Tracy Lawrence to Garth Brooks to Vince Gill to, I mean, you name it. We had 27 artists that came in and helped us. It was the funnest night ever. I mean, we were still getting phone calls at 3 a.m. going, I can't believe you did that.
What a beautiful win.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of those kind of moments and I won an Emmy. I was part of a producer for a documentary for Exile for one of my clients. So, and that was very unexpected. I did not submit to try and win that, but the people that did the actual documentary, I just provided all the stuff for it. But since I was part of the team, I got an Emmy. So there's lots of things that happen, and usually I don't like to be in the front. I'm behind my clients. I'm the one that gets them things. I'm not out there for myself. So
that's incredible. Yeah, a lot of people will, who are representing artists, they'll say, no, we'll just let the artists come to the podcast. I'm good. I'll stay back here.
Oh, yeah.
So I was so excited when you said yes.
I don't do very many. Every once in a while, I'm like, yeah, I'll do one. But it's not my nature to do a lot of them, but I enjoy it. I mean, probably because I was on radio. So,
yeah,
I don't mind getting behind the mic now and then and talking again.
Oh, I appreciate that. What made you say yes to this one?
Mental wellness is a very close subject for Allie and I. She's very passionate about it. So, because I've put her on so many different arenas for that, whether it's speaking live to audiences or doing podcasts, I've learned a lot about it. And so I just felt like this one was a good one to jump into because the music industry as a whole has a lot of mental issues. There's a lot of pressure on artists. And I think the more we can get the word out about that, the better. So that's kind of why I said yes to you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
So you talked about, we're going to come back to mental wellness, but you've talked about, some of your wins. You've had some beautiful ones. The next question I have is, what have been your biggest lessons in the industry?
Who do you trust? That's the biggest. Recently had a situation that I've had two of them recently, but one of them was a real big impact of working with a client, and I'm not going to name names, but I was both their manager and their publicist for many years. And throughout the process, the client was ill, and we knew the end was coming. Another person that had been working with them had been appointed to be their point of contact for everything after they passed away and their legal stuff. But there were more than just that one person that had been appointed, and took it upon themselves to let me know that I was no longer needed, even though they hadn't passed away yet. And it turned into quite a drama, not because I was creating the drama, but they were. And I'm not a drama person at all. So it was very hard for me to deal with that. Not only was I losing somebody, I was under a lot of pressure, and I sometimes felt like I had to justify things, which I shouldn't have had to justify anything. But that was one situation that it took me a long time to kind of come out of that one.
That's such a compound loss.
It was a lot. Like I said, I don't want to go into it too deeply. There was a lot of it. There's still a lot going on with that. Not so much with me, but with other people that this same person is doing things to and trying to rile up things that don't need to be. That it's not benefiting anybody, including themselves. And recently, I had someone that I was working with doing some PR, and I'm a nice person. I will go an extra mile for anybody, even if it's not in my realm of work. I'll do things. And it was my own fault for agreeing to do it for less than my normal charge, but I did because I liked them and their music was good. And then, of course, I did a lot of favors, which I shouldn't have done, and helped them in other areas. And then they decided not to pay me. So those kind of things don't sit well with you when it happens. So that adds a
Sure.
lot of stress when you're not getting paid what you should be in the first place, but you're doing it out of the love for the person and their music. And then they turn around and they just don't decide that, oh, they're just not going to pay you. And so those are lessons that you learn, and it'll never happen again with me because now I will never do that. But it affects everything when that happens. Then you're like, well, I'm not going out of my way for anybody anymore, which that's not my character at all. It's, I'm going to help anybody that needs it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is such a common theme.
It is. Yeah, it is. And
It really is, sadly.
it was funny because I posted on my socials one day. I had seen a quote that someone else had put out about similar to both of those stories about how I never want to go through that again. And I was not putting up there referencing either one of those instances. Just hit home with me when I saw it. I'm like, yep, I'm through some stuff I don't want to ever go through again. That's all I was doing. I had like 300 people messaging me and texting me and posting on my socials, are you okay? What happened? And I'm like, I just like the quote, but people care. And then, of course, they were sharing their stories. Oh, I had this happen. I had that. So it's very common. And it causes a lot of stress and a lot of mental wellness issues and all of the things that go with it. So I know it's not just me. And that kind of helped me push past it as well, knowing that there was somebody else, personal people that I knew.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm sorry that happened. And I'm sad that it's so common.
yeah, we are too. And that's why, like I said, we're trying to get the word out, especially with Allie, and let people know it's okay to talk about stuff. There's other people that can help you through it and people that can help you not go through it again.
Right. Right. And, just like you said, it's those lessons that teach you,
Mhm.
right? We all know that. And, I think the world is pretty much in consensus over that. But when it comes to mental health, what I think is so important is the normalizing of the human experience, where so often people's human experiences get them labeled with a diagnosis or, and even though it's 2026 and we're opening up and we're opening up the conversation, there's still a
Oh,
stigma.
of course there is.
There's still a fear. And then when you're in the public, it's tenfold, if not 1,000-fold.
Yep.
And so that's the whole point of this podcast, is to normalize the conversation around just how normal it is to have human emotions based on your human experiences.
Right.
And I was just thinking about this morning, like people who have endured, and not that everyone who has painful emotions has endured, complex trauma or anything, but people who've endured the most end up with the diagnoses, right? When it's just their nervous system responding to whatever event or events or series of events that have happened, which is so normal. Our nervous system is designed to protect us and to tell us, don't trust people like that. It's just so human, and it's rooted in science. And so, yeah, it's like it's just my passion to open up these conversations and not only say it's okay to talk about it, but like it's necessary.
It is. It really is. I hope everybody has a circle of friends, people that are close, whether it's family or coworkers or whatever it might be, just friends that you can talk about it with them and they're not going to judge you on it. And that you can cry if you need to, or scream or throw something, get it out there, because that really helped, especially for me, when I could vocalize and, go, where did this come from? And why me, and just get all those feelings out and sort through everything. It's kind of like folding a basket of clean socks out of the dryer. It's like, get everything put back together again and organized, because I don't like it I don't like everything not that way.
Sure. Do you want to talk a little bit about your mental health journey, whatever you feel would be helpful to share?
Sure. I mean, overall, mine has been pretty much on the upside. I have not had a lot of experiences of stress. I mean, I've been through a divorce, but it was pretty amicable. I mean, we are still friends. And, if we have family get togethers, Christmases or whatever, we're all still together and we're fine. So I am not the norm when it comes to that. So yeah, it was stressful going through it, but once we realized it was the right thing and we're still all good, it really was peachy keen compared to a lot of people that go through a lot. But other than that, I mean, we all have things, day-to-day things. Last week we had an ice storm and I was stuck at home for 2 weeks because I had 5 inches of ice on my driveway. But for me, it's like, good, I gotta stay home till it thaws. I have nowhere I have to be. So all in all, I feel like I'm at the top of being able to really handle the mental health stuff. I don't get stressed out about a lot of things. I don't let things worry me. I'm lucky in that one. I don't think I'm hiding them. I don't think I'm just covering stuff up, because really I just don't. I had a weird situation last week. I walk a lot. I try and get in 10,000 steps a day, which is a lot, but I was at our local rec center walking, and our rec center happens to have, it's a circle track. And one day you walk to your left, and the next day you walk to your right, just to even out your body and your everything. I don't know. And there were some young girls up there, probably between ages 10 and 12. And they were not walking. They were playing tag or doing something they shouldn't have even been up there doing. No supervision. And after about a half hour, I kind of had enough of them because they were in everybody's way. So I stopped one of them and said, listen, there's an arrow over there by the door. It shows you what way everybody's supposed to walk today so nobody gets hurt. And I said, you guys are running and yelling, and you need to slow down and just learn. You have to walk. But if you're going to run, at least go in the right direction. That's all I said. I didn't touch the kid. I didn't scream at the kid. I didn't go to the front desk and tattle on them and say, these kids need to go. I just kept walking. Well, it wasn't long, and all of a sudden a parent comes in accusing me of touching her child and doing more things than I did. And I said, listen, I'm not going to get into this with you. I did nothing wrong. There are cameras all over our track. Ask the front desk to look at the cameras. You can see it. I said, I'm going to keep walking. I hope your day is great. And I just kept on walking. And I didn't let it bother me. I just went on. I didn't stress about it. Although I told my daughter, I said that I did kind of expect for them to all be outside waiting for me when when I got done, because they were not really very nice about the way they were handling it. But that's this day and age. Everybody's drama. Everybody's got to make a point, and I don't know, maybe my name and pictures on social somewhere, it says I'm a bad person now, but I know I'm not. So,
right.
But, that's just another simple thing that it occurs in our daily lives, that it could have caused a lot of mental stress to me. I could have worried about it for a week, but I don't let it get to me. So,
yeah. Well, and, saying, like you said, everybody, is just into drama. I think everybody's dysregulated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think people are so dysregulated and so out of touch with themselves, and they're just spewing sideways.
I agree.
And you can see the difference in your interaction, where you were able to stay grounded, steadfast, honest, rooted in your integrity and your values. And then somebody who's not actually starts to make things up. I see this a lot.
Yeah.
People will make up stories that are convenient to their narrative, and they're really not even aware that they're doing it. They're so out of touch with themselves.
Yeah. I blame a lot of it on video games, social media, all of these outside things that people are hiding behind their screens, and they don't understand what real life stuff is. They never had to go outside and play in the dirt or play outside or do anything. They're just entertained by whatever they have in their hands or in front of them on a computer screen. And today's parents mine were not mean parents by any means, but they were strict enough that we knew if we stepped over a line. I don't see that with today's parents. They make up excuses for I see it with my grandkids in their schools. I see it in the sports, and my kids would have never got away with that. I would have made them sit down next to me the whole time for the rest of the game. Like, nope, you don't get to play now. You can sit here until everything is done. But today's parents make up excuses, and it's just going to snowball until people realize that we got to kind of come back to some normalcy on that.
Yeah. And, part of being regulated and self-aware is knowing your values. And if you ask somebody who behaves that way in public, is it your value to not have to deal with your feelings, to be able to tell people off whenever you want, to be able to spew your stuff? Most people would say, well, no, but it's like, well, but your behaviors would say otherwise.
Correct. And they don't want to have that conversation in the first place. They're not comfortable with it. They would rather cause a scene and blow up your name on social media and text all their friends and say, don't ever talk to this person, blah, 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 or take pictures of you and post it places. And it's just ridiculous how everything has blown up that way.
Yeah, I have a lot of compassion for kids who are being raised in this world because I wouldn't want it.
No.
I'm so grateful that social media didn't exist when I was a kid.
Me too.
Especially a teenager.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so about mental wellness, what specifically makes you so passionate? Because you're not only, like, lots of people say that they're passionate about it, but they're not really doing anything about it, whether it's with themselves or with the artists that they represent. They say it, but there's not a lot of action.
Right.
And you actually take action. Right. And so that's, what I respect the most. But what drives your passion for mental wellness for artists?
I think because I've seen it from a lot of sides. I've seen it from really everything that I explained to you, how I started in radio and did everything moving up. So I've seen it from the artist's perspective of trying to get that number one song or get their recognition, whatever it may be, whatever their goals are. And I've seen it from the industry side, whether you're a label head or you're a publicist or you're a manager, and they get stressed out because they can't get their artist on these interviews or on their publications or on a stage or whatever it might be. So there's so many different levels and so many different ways that people get really stressed out and start having mental issues. And, and then you bring in the drugs and the alcohol, and then it's a whole different story. So there's just a lot and in our industry, people go up and down really quickly. You may be successful and have a great tour one year, and the next year have nothing. Same with your songs. You may have a number one with a song, and then you can't get the next one to get radio airplay. And there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just how our industry works because there's so many people competing for the same things. And one artist may take it very well, and the next one, they're ready to throw in the towel. They can't handle it. So seeing all that from so many angles and being around people, experiencing it all the time. I mean, sometimes I feel like I am a therapist, talking them off the ledge, going, no, this is a one-time thing. You're still doing fine. Your numbers are fine. We just need to move to the next one and figure out what the new plan is, whatever it is that we need to talk about. But we're just around it a lot in this industry.
Sure.
It's kind of its own unique little animal, if you will.
Absolutely. Would you say that artists are well prepared for that?
Absolutely
up and
not.
down?
No.
Where does that need to start? Because it is so normal, and it's exacerbated in the music industry. It's in the entire entertainment industry, and it spreads, to all industries. But the music industry is so unique. Right? How do we prepare? And I know you can tell somebody something, and until they experience it, they won't necessarily believe it. But how do we help artists, young artists, new artists who are just starting out? How do we prepare them and say, this is likely going to happen? And even if you run strong for 6 months, it could shift to nothing. Mm-hmm. There is no rhyme or reason, and we have to prepare you, and we have to prepare your nervous system for that.
Yeah.
Because you have to have the capacity to ride those highs and lows if you're going to sustain yourself in the long run.
Absolutely.
Where do we start, and who does that? What can we do?
I wish I could say that every artist goes to college for a music industry to a degree, but they don't. So many of them just fall into it. It was a passion that they got discovered now on social media. Those are the people I worry about the most, the TikTokers. We've seen it over and over where somebody on TikTok all of a sudden becomes famous overnight because they had one song that they sang and, millions of views. And then all of a sudden the industry sweeps in and puts them on a tour, puts them on a big stage, does whatever they're going to do with them. They have never played in front of a live audience. All they've done is played in their bedroom on their computer. They've never understood any of the other roles that now all of a sudden this label has 50 people on their team telling them what to do every day. All these things come at them and they don't succeed. I don't know one TikToker that has really sustained in this industry. We've had several that have kind of figured it out, but most of them, they come in and they're gone in a minute, and then they have a lot of mental issues because of it. Even those that dream about it their whole life, they still have a lot of mental. But I think just doing what we're doing, we're talking through podcasts, we're having live sessions at as many conventions and arenas and whatever we can, that we know there's a lot of artists there that we can talk about it. Not afraid to talk about it on social media and just say, hey, I had a great time with my therapist today. We were talking about some of my mental health issues and things I'm going through. There's nothing wrong with that. No different than a woman showing up for an interview with no makeup on. For a long time, if you weren't in your stage makeup, you didn't get your picture taken with anybody. You didn't show, you ran out to the bus because you didn't want nobody to see you. I think today, a lot of the artists don't care. You're seeing more and more of them all the time that they're on social media and they're not made up. You get what you get. And I think that's wonderful because we all know we do not look like we look when we have makeup on.
That's right. That's right. I haven't made it to the podcast without makeup, but I know when I first started a couple years ago, I had to have the right outfit on and, my hair had to be, and now I'm just like, I'll wear a concert t-shirt from, my new favorite artist.
Yep. I mean, when I was young and had my kids, and I wouldn't even go to the grocery store without makeup on. I was, I'm like, if I didn't have my hair done and makeup on, I wasn't leaving. Now I'm kind of like the Walmart people. I don't care. I'll wear my slippers and like I don't really care. If you want to look at me and judge me, go for it. But I'm comfortable and I'm happy and I don't care.
Right.
But, it's just, there's just so many ways and so many things that people have to just understand and accept themselves for, and still understand there is a time and place where you do have to wear normal clothes and makeup. You can't you can't run around like that all the time either. So there's a place for everything. But I really do think that just being able to talk about things and express how you feel when things happen is a big key to everything. And so we're just trying to find as many platforms for that to try and open doors and windows and let people know that you are not alone. There's issues all over the place, and no two peoples are the same. My mental issues and yours are not the same. So there's not one easy fix. Don't turn to alcohol. Don't turn to drugs. Get help, talk to friends and family and get a therapist, whatever you need to do. So that's just what we're doing.
The conversation around the makeup, the word that came to mind was conditioning, right? We've been so conditioned, especially as women, we've been conditioned to look a certain way and, behave and dress and whatever. With mental health, I think it's the same. There's been so much conditioning that if you struggle, if you wrestle, it's a you problem. There's something wrong with you. And I think we're still seeing too many spaces where, okay, let's go send the artist off somewhere else to go get fixed. And then hopefully we can bring them back. And I think we need to decondition the entire industry.
Yeah. And I don't have the answer to that at all because...
Well, again, I think we're doing it, right? We keep having the conversation. We keep pushing back.
Our industry, we lost a huge music executive last year. And
it's so sad.
Nobody saw that coming. And we know that there was help, but, I don't know the whole story behind that, but there was help. You don't have to take your own life just because you have things going on and, whatever the situation is. But I hope that we can open more doors and windows and everything and get people to feel comfortable to talk about things and understand and realize some of it's stuff you can do. Self-help, shut the phone off, shut the TV off, put your games away, go outside and go for a walk, anything, it's not always expensive stuff you have to do to fix it. Sometimes it's just an easy, go out in the backyard and water your flowers.
Absolutely. And what I have found is one of the greatest missing links is people understanding their nervous system. When they struggle, they think it's me. Something's wrong with me, instead of understanding the science that your body is communicating to you. And we've also been conditioned to look outside of ourselves for the answers, right?
Correct.
So make this go away, change my schedule, help me, get to the top, help me be more successful so then I'll feel better. It's all within you.
Yeah.
And what I have found is when people understand the science behind what is happening in their brain and their spinal cord, their nervous system, their central nervous system, they understand, oh, I do have to go outside and put my feet in the grass.
Yeah.
And I now know how to gauge what works for my body, what doesn't, because again, like you said, there's no one size fits all, or, fits all. And we can't, everything isn't going to work for all the people. But when you understand what your body is telling you, and you understand how it's connected to the experiences you've had and the experiences you continue to have, and that your nervous system is communicating to you, and you give people the tools and a scale on how to rate it and put them to work, it's a beautiful transformation. Yeah. And I want to add that to the conversation, because I do think we're still a little stuck in, some people have mental health issues, some people don't. And really, we all have mental health and we all need to protect it. And it should be an industry-wide conversation, not who needs it and who doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
We all need it. And I always say when our artists are well, everybody wins.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know even education has changed. When I was in elementary school through high school, we had health and wellness classes. We had to go through different, and some of them were called different things as we got older, whatever. But I remember talking about certain things like that in school. They don't have those anymore. The budgets have cut a lot of that, and the teachers don't have the experience to teach them and whatever, because they don't have a specific person in that role that can help those kids. And we have elementary kids committing suicide. That's not normal. And it's not just coming from home. It's mostly coming from school issues, bullying, and whatever else is going on.
Social media.
So I think that we do need to step back and look at our school systems and start there, and have certain things built into jobs where people are allowed to, they're having a day and they need to go sit at the picnic table outside. Let them work out there, get some fresh air. That's what they need. I don't know, but there definitely needs to make some changes, and helping people learn that it's okay to not surround yourself with whatever it is that's causing your issues in the first place. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Bev, what do you do on a regular basis to protect your own mental wellness?
Number one, I do walk. I love walking, and I especially love walking outside when I can go on the trails, because I love nature. So that's probably my number one. I also love to go out and do my gardening. There's nothing I love more than mowing my yard or watering my plants or figuring out what's next back there. We just lost in the ice storm a whole bunch of trees, and my daughter was like, oh, good, cut it up for firewood, because she goes camping. And I sent her a picture that night. I said, all the limbs that are about 6 to 8 inches wide, you're not getting them. I said, I'm going to make a dry riverbed. And she's like, do you ever stop thinking of your garden? I'm like, no. But that's where I go when I don't have the phone bugging me. I'm not thinking about emails. I'm not thinking about work or what I have to pack because we're leaving to get on the road. I can just go outside and get my hands dirty and not think about any of that. So that's how I find my balance. And knowing that, if I get my 10,000 steps in that day, that's great, and sometimes I don't, and I'm okay with that too. But that's where I really find my balance, is when I can get out there. The other part of it is the music. I mean, if I'm working and we're doing stuff, especially a live show, I'm in my element. The whole day can go by and I don't even know it, So I think everybody has their thing. And I think music does that for a lot of people. That's why concerts sell out. People need
Absolutely.
That couple hours to scream and yell and dance and get away from life. So it's all tied together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And being outside in nature, I mean, nature is just magical on its own. But, what you're describing, like what you're, making the dry riverbed, it's creativity.
Absolutely, yes.
And we need to be creative. And, when I talk to artists, it's what are you doing to be creative outside of what you're producing for your career?
Mm-hmm.
Do you make music for yourself that the world will never get to see? Do you paint? Do you, garden?
Mm-hmm.
Do you, do interior design, have something just for you that is sacred to you because your music is sacred to us.
Yeah. Yeah, you
and
have
so
to.
have
And there
something
are
for yourself.
there's a lot of artists that write songs that no one else will ever hear.
Yep.
It's just in their head. They need to get it out. And it is therapy for them. But, it's very important to, if you have pets, go for a walk, do whatever to do something, or do crafts or read a book, whatever you enjoy doing to escape for a little while. Hopefully do it in a healthy way. And, you just need to do that.
Yeah. I like what you said too, when you said, I try to get my 10,000 steps. And if I don't, that's okay too. What that is, what I hear when people say that is you have a flexible nervous system, because sometimes we can get so dialed into our routines that we become rigid. And it's not so much that we're really feeling better. It's like we have a different level of distraction. Like our, gym routine is now the level of distraction, right? Like people say like the gym is my therapy. And I'm like, can it just be part of it? But yeah, like, okay, let's be flexible. I hit my daily routines 85% of the time. I'm golden. And being able to have that mentality helps when life kicks the snot out of you. Right? Because no matter how well you are, no matter how mentally strong you are, no matter how successful you are, I think a lot of artists need to hear that life is still going to life. And you need a nervous system who can handle the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs and the wins and the losses, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, because your life doesn't stop just because you're in the music career. You still have family, you still have friends, you still have your pets, your horses, whatever. You still have a life that you need to take care of.
Yeah.
And you have to find that balance and not let one thing dominate you. And some people can handle it and some can't. And that's where we need to find the tools to help them.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are scared of the word mental health. Someone says, oh, they have mental problems. Then all of a sudden that's a red check mark on your forehead, and it's like, this is normal. This isn't mental health problems. It's just what we go through every single day that we just have to figure out how to balance it.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I think that's the number one piece that's being missed.
Yeah, I really think so.
And that's why I've moved away from the conversation around mental illness versus mental wellness.
Yeah.
Because again, we've been conditioned to think there's people with issues and people without, and mental health is health. And so some of us have asthma and we don't judge each other. And some of us have anxiety, but whoa, look out, right? Like, and it's funny because different industries in different cities, I have a friend who says, if you're in LA and you go to therapy, you're being responsible. But in Chicago, you've got issues.
Correct.
Or you're,
that's
crazy,
a Midwest thing.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's a Midwest thing because that's how I grew up, in a farming community. And that's exactly what they think.
Yeah. But let's normalize like taking care of your mental health, being proactive, not waiting, is responsible. It's mature, it's integrated, and it's what's going to help you take your success to levels that you can't even imagine. Because if you don't have the mental health or the nervous system to sustain it, you're going to lose whatever you build anyway. And that's devastating, as we see time and time and time again. And not to put more pressure on artists or the industry, but when you're in the public and we lose you to betrayal or scandal or addiction or suicide, it impacts hundreds of thousands of people.
It really does. Yeah.
Because we adore you and we, your fans feel like they know you and they're rooting for you. And even though, sure, you probably have haters too and critics, but they don't matter. But I just think it's a big toll. And I think when we have artists who on the outside look like they have it all together and they look like they've quote unquote made it, and then we lose them or they fall from grace, it makes it hard for other people who are like, well, if he can't make it, I'm never going to make it. He had everything. And it's a snowball effect, which is why I believe that with mental wellness, we can also have a snowball effect. If we have people in the public eye who we know, who we think we know, who we adore, can stand on a stage and say, you're a human. Your feelings matter. This is normal. You've been lied to. You've been conditioned. It's all BS. Take care of yourself. Ooh, I got goosebumps. Like, that's what we need. I have this vision. I have this like BHAG goal. Have you seen David Letterman's My Next Guest?
I have.
So similar to that, I have this dream of having like a TV show where there is an artist, like a well-known artist and an up-and-coming artist on every episode, and all they're talking about is mental health. And so the well-known artist can say, here's what my journey was, here were my wins, but here were my lessons around the concept of mental wellness, so that we build into the newer artists, but also the whole world.
Right.
Because I think everybody wants to know, how do I get help? How do I make this better? And until we can open up that dialogue, but I think having our artists who are honest and candid, and that's why I love how you build into your clients, because for me, it matters more than how successful they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I had a day this week where I left the house at 7 a.m. and didn't get home until after 6:30. And I got a lot accomplished. I had meetings, I had to pick up stuff, I had to meet a new client. My computer never got touched that whole day because I was out doing things. And I joked with somebody and I said, you'll be proud of me. I didn't even look at my computer once today. I have no idea how many emails are waiting for me. And normally I'm on top of every email all day long. And they're like, good for you. You need it. So you do. We get into that grind and we think that we have to do whatever it is, whether it's as small as doing your email every single day or whatever. We just need to know that it's okay to let that go for a day or two, whatever you need.
Yeah.
The world is not going to end. And, you may have missed a deadline or something, but is it the end of the world? No. You might not be happy about it, but you'll get over it. So, no.
So that begs the question, are there industry professionals who are not saying that, or who are saying the opposite?
It's a good question. I don't know if there's any industry professionals saying that at all. I honestly.
So where is it come? Where is that? Like, obviously the hustle is part of it. All of us, no matter what we're doing, we have to hustle and we have to grind, but we have to also know how to recover and how to learn how our identity and our worth is not wrapped up in our busyness.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There needs to be that separation of, yes, I have to work hard. Of course I do, but that's not my identity.
Right.
Where do you think that conditioning still comes from? Because when I talk to people, a lot of artists are still like, there's this narrative that you get one shot, or, if you don't do it, somebody else will.
Yeah. I think from the
these
artist
kinds of
perspective, I don't see it on my part so much because I am self-employed and I can work as much as I want or little as I want, which normally I'm working a lot. But an artist is getting it from different angles, because if they have a team around them, then we're putting pressure on them. We need these assets. We need you to get this done by this date. We have, whatever it is. If they have, even if they're on a label, then they have even bigger teams of people coming in. And then they have the fans that are like, when are you releasing the new music? We like it. We don't like it. What, we like what you put on socials. We don't. You need to do this. You need to do that. So they get demands from a lot of sides that the general public does not. And I don't think that there's any way to control that, because that's just how things kind of work. I do feel like there's some narrative on how much you allow fans to say to you before you hit the unfollow, go away button, and not let that get to you. But that's hard because you're constantly trying to build your numbers, build your streaming numbers, your fan base numbers. I don't have the magic answers. I just know things that are causing it that we need to talk about and figure out together a way to find that door that it's okay to walk through and say, okay, I need a break. I'm off of here for a few days, and it's okay. If things go down, they go down. I'll be back, but I've got to get some fresh air and do whatever. So we'll get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We will. And these conversations, I think, are going to help us get there. What would you say for an artist who may be struggling with their mental health right now?
They need to talk to somebody, whether it's a friend, a parent, a therapist, somebody. They need to be able to be naked in front of somebody and let people see everything for what it is. And I don't mean that the way it sounds, but they need to be able to expose and talk about what's causing it. Is it another human causing you to feel this way? Is it your inner self screaming at you to do more or to do it different or to do it better? Is it just the expectations of the world as a whole? But you need to be able to talk about that. And the more that you can talk about it, as your circle gets bigger and people understand what's causing it, I think it's it's going to go away a little bit, because maybe you are one of the things pushing them that's making them feel that way. So, and I think people don't realize that they do it to other people. That's a key thing right
Sure.
there. I mean, I see people that have friends that on a normal day, they may not do these things, but then this friend comes around and all of a sudden they're on a binge, they're doing whatever it is that this person that maybe has some bad traits does. And, maybe it's just staying up until 3 a.m. It doesn't have to be a major bad trait, but it's things that take away from you being healthy when you know that you need your 8 hours of sleep at night and they don't, or whatever. Maybe they sleep till 3 in the afternoon and you can't. You've got to get up for a job in the morning. So there's just lots of things that we need to get out there that people help them recognize things better. And I don't know where I got it. I have no idea where I really picked it up, but somehow I did.
Well, and it's interesting because what you're describing, I think a lot of people in the entertainment industry, especially the music industry, a lot of people push those necessities aside because they just have been somehow made to believe that if they just make it, then everything will work out. If I just get that gig, if I just get that award, and that goalpost always moves, no matter where you're at in your career, it just keeps moving and your wellness just keeps getting pushed to the side. When I get that, then I'll start, going to the gym. When I get that, then I'll tell those friends that, maybe they're not a great influence, whatever it may be. But you have to put yourself as a priority. And what people don't understand is you are far more likely to be successful if you take care of your mental and physical health than you ever will be if you ignore it.
Absolutely.
And we just
It's
need to
no
flip
different
that.
You're from Chicago, so you understand it. The winters suck.
Amen.
You're not outside. You're not getting fresh air. You're in the house where you've got the furnace running, so the air is drier. And spring hits, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, I feel so much better. People that maybe live in Florida or California where they have kind of the same weather all year long, I feel like their mental health would be better all year round versus what we go through. I hate having to be in the house all the time. I want to go outside and do whatever. And maybe everybody doesn't get that feeling like I do, but man, I was sitting outside on my porch the other day. I'm like, oh, I've missed this so bad. It just felt good. Oh, maybe we need to bottle that and sell it. I don't know.
Well, self-awareness is so important that, that deep inner knowing is so important. Like I have to be outside. I just have to be. I have to be outside, even if it's 17 degrees. And so I'm currently wrestling with a couple injuries and I can't be outside. And I have to make up for it in other ways. I have to have a little light that I turn on, when I get up in the morning, I turn on all the lights, which I typically wouldn't.
Right.
Just, stepping outside, even if I can't go for a walk or I can't get my steps. You just learn like what does my physical and mental self need, and you make that a priority, and then you don't get taken out. There were many winters before I understood all of this that I would just be flattened, and it was awful. I don't want to go back there.
Like at night to sleep, I'll put the sound of crickets and birds on at night just to hear like I'm outside. Or while I work, I'll put on, there's all kinds of just quiet songs that you can put on your TV screen that are just some kind of a noise. I don't like a lot of loud stuff, but I will put the waves hitting an ocean, anything while I'm working that it's just something refreshing and simple things that you can do. Anybody can do that. They're on every TV, or on YouTube, whatever. But those little things sometimes are all you need to shut your head off or to help you just work and feel like you're not sitting in your house working when you'd rather be outside doing something. So,
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I love this conversation, Bev. I look forward to more. I know that you are up to some really cool things. Is there anything that you want to mention that you have coming up that people should know about?
Not really. I mean, like I said, my days and world changes. We're going to Cuba. Does that count? I'm excited about that.
Well, you taking me with you?
My days and my week right now, I mean, from December to probably the first part of February, our world is pretty quiet in the music industry because nobody's really touring a lot. There's some stuff, but not a lot. But we're gearing up starting next week. We go to Houston, and then our schedule pretty much changes and we'll be on the road quite a bit. But I just got an artist on a 12-day run to Cuba, and I'm very excited about that. So that'll be fun because I get to go along. And I just got some new clients So I'm learning them and starting to work with stuff with them. So, but my stuff changes all the time. Next week, maybe
Sure.
something big news. Who knows? It might not be, but we've always got some big things on the horizon that we're doing, and it's just fun to be a part of that. And again, it's one of those things. It's always good and it's always bad because you don't have your own downtime, but you're doing fun things that you wouldn't do normally. So,
Sure. Yeah. Well, do you have like a final parting mantra that you would say to somebody in the industry to navigate everything we've just discussed? Is there
I've
anything
always
that you use on a regular
I've
basis?
had one since the day one, and I'm sure I learned this probably in Girl Scouts or church or something growing up, but especially in this industry, it's very important that every single person you meet will circle around again at some form, some fashion. It might be next week, it might be 3 months, it might be 10 years. You never know, but you are going to see that person again somewhere. So be nice to everybody because you don't know how that person, they may come to you with an offer for a show. They may circle back and thank you for being nice to them because it inspired them to do something else. I've had it happen to me over and over and over again where I briefly am introduced to somebody and don't think twice about it. And then all of a sudden, here it comes back to me. And I'm like, I remember meeting you 10 years ago when we both were nobody and trying to figure stuff out. Now we're both over here and you're helping me do this because you've landed this, whatever it may be. And that kind of stuff is invaluable. So be nice to everybody, regardless, because you will see them again somehow. And hopefully it'll be a good situation, but maybe they're going to need you for something. It might circle around where you've got something and you can help them. So who knows?
I love that. And I would add, be nice to yourself.
Yes.
Always be nice to yourself because you're wherever you go, there you
There
are.
you are. And no getting away from it.
Thank you so much for being here, Bev. I've truly enjoyed this
Thank you. I
conversation.
did too.
All right. Well, I look forward to when we get to chat
Awesome.
again.
Me too. Hopefully we get to meet in person.
I look forward
Okay.
to it.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks. When artists are well, everybody wins. If today's conversation resonated with you, head over to kimrapach.com where you'll find tools and resources to support your mental wellness journey. For questions about private coaching, speaking engagements, or being a guest on the podcast, email me directly at kim@kimrapach.com. Together, we can create better conversations, a healthier industry, and a happier you.